What do you need improvement in?
Just want to go through and win.
What is the purpose of overthinking? Taking care of your loved one. That's how you can increase your sales.
Hello, everybody. This is Faris.
And this is Caleb Flournoy, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz.
Man, Caleb, our audience are in for a treat today, brother.
Yes, a great treat.
Man, we have actually one of our dear friends, actually from the West Coast, Nick B. And I crushed Nick's last name, so I'm going to give, I know it rhymes with hippopotamus.
Bonitabus.
We have Nick. Nick is really crushing the industry, helping home care providers just like us and entrepreneurs make sure they get their messages out to their ideal audience in their community as well. So we thought that we go through and bring our homeboy on to come through and actually share some information with our audience as well. So Nick, we want to say welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Nick.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You guys are absolutely amazing. So I am truly honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Man, Caleb, do you remember when we met Nick?
Yes, it was in, what was it, King of Prussia?
Exactly, up in Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Man.
Well, and I think one of our executive director now, she won a package from Nick. So Nick is like the social media guru when it comes down to home care industries. And so Nick, right now, I want you to tell us about you. Introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So my name is Nick Bonitabus. I'm the owner and founder of Digital Champions, and I help home care business owners to generate leads utilizing the power of video and social media.
Yes.
Brother, I cannot wait to delve deep in that, because one thing I see, man, of course, running a home healthcare agency, if we would have ran our agency the way we did back in 2007 when we first got started, Nick, we'd be honestly out of business. So we had to do a pivot change as well, man. So I want to kind of delve deeper into that right there, man, because I know you've helped so many home healthcare providers. And this conversation is definitely geared towards those home healthcare providers, but also for entrepreneurs. Take note, because the same principles that he's going to be talking about applies to other industries as well. So Nick, delve a little bit deeper in that, man. Tell us specifically, what do you do to go through and help home healthcare providers actually thrive in this digital age?
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, the world's changing, and, having your foot in the digital world is crucial. It's not this would be nice to have anymore. It's absolutely essential. And if, COVID taught us anything, it became even more relevant, where the people that were already online were good, were able to at least, float, but the people that weren't, trying to get in, and now they're playing catch up. And, when it comes to realistically, right, every business that exists that's out there, the key fundamental piece is about building relationships. It doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're an accountant, you work at a bank, whatever it is, it's all business relationships. And so when it comes to social media and really helping my clients, it's really about how are we leveraging that to create more powerful connections, to get people to know who we are so they can know us, like us, and trust us. Because at the end of the day, that's who we want to do business with.
Yes.
You want to do business with people that and you're like, I like these guys. I like this person. I want to do business with them. And so I'm really helping my clients to kind of get out of their shell a little bit. I know, especially when it comes to video, people are very, very hesitant to getting on camera. And so really taking that time to push them a little bit, as well as give them the strategy behind it, because it's not just about what you're doing on social media. It's not just about posting, but really having a digital marketing strategy around it. I saw this quote the other day that's like, Instagram Reels is not a strategy. It's just a feature on Instagram. And so it's really important. And social media is the same thing. It's just a tool. You still have to have a strategy to back it up. And that's what I really help my clients to do, is to implement it so they can get results.
Man, and I think what you said was definitely having the tool, because I think about it as like a toolbox. We can have all the tools in the toolbox, but if we don't know how to use the jigsaw, know how to use the hammer, know how to use the screwdriver, it's just a tool. It has the potential of doing something great, just like the internet, just like social media has the potential to do something great. But when you put those tools in the right hand of a skilled person, now you can go through and build something amazing. And that's one thing, Nick, I look at you as that skilled person, and what you're doing is training healthcare providers providers is to go through and actually pick up the tools. Don't be afraid of the tools. Don't be afraid of the cameras.
Right.
Don't be afraid of having the conversation, but to pick up the tools and put them to work, man. And I just want to go through and say, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, Nick, I want to ask you, how did you choose that niche as like home healthcare, working with home care providers? Like, what made you choose that instead of restaurants or any other business?
Yeah, great question. So what's funny, when I first started, I wanted to help everyone. I'm like, yes, let's help everyone. Everybody needs social media and video marketing support. This is going to be great. And it was not. I struggled, it was like, oh, I thought this would be great. And I already had my foot kind of in the home care space a little bit from, really starting in home care in 2014 and, and 2016, starting to kind of share social media content on stages and really kind of building a name for myself within the industry. But it was really interesting because I had this dilemma in really thinking, oh, I need to niche down. I really need to focus on what I need to do. And I kept going back and forth between working with coaches and course creators or working with home care people. And I decided, I'm going to go with coaches and course creators. And then I go back and forth. And then, I go, all right, I'm going to work with coaches and course creators. And then I go back and forth. And so I bring this up because a lot of times our intuition is stronger than anything that we can even fathom. And so for me, there was something that was like, wrong answer, try again, And so then all of a sudden I decided, I'm going to go all in on home care. And it was like a switch went off.
Wow.
And all of a sudden everything just got easier. And I started to really love it. And all of a sudden connections and people and all of these things just started flowing my way. And so just from a niche standpoint, how important it is. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, because it's so important. But what I really love about the home care industry is really the people. From the start, from every event that I've ever been to within this industry, man, you're not in this business because you want money. Correct. You're in this business because you care and you want to help people. Right. And so for me, that was the most powerful thing in continuously hearing people's story. And now I have the opportunity to help those individuals tell their stories and why they got into the industry, because that's one of the most powerful ways in marketing their business, but also just understanding that their stories are powerful, impactful, personal. And that's what we want to hear. Simon Sinek says, we don't do business with what people do. We do business with why people do it.
Yes, man.
And that's so powerful.
Man, I think it's one thing that I just gathered from what you were just saying was like, and just like a lot of entrepreneurs right in there, they're trying to go through and do this, that. It's almost sometimes we're afraid to niche down. It's like if I niche down, I'm going to miss out on something else. Yeah. If I want everything at the table instead of just what's going to go through and give me nourishment. And I think, do you see sometimes, is that a fear? Is that a real fear for most entrepreneurs that you work with, or some entrepreneurs that you work with? Is it a fear to niche down to get really focused?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, an actual non-home care. I do have some non-home care people that I work with, majority home care, but this individual, and I know he's struggling. I mean, I see it, and he's just like pumping out all this social media content, spending all this money on video and all this stuff, which is, again, what I teach. But I said, I'm like, we got to stop this. Like, I know you're bleeding. I know your business is not generating revenue. We got to change your messaging and who you're targeting. Wow. So it's like, who do you want to work with? Who are who are you working with? And he's like, oh, well, the industry that I originally come from, that's where some of my clients are at. I'm like, all right, great. That's where we need to go. That's who you need to talk to. For me, the biggest realization was I had this launch, right? I had 141 people registered. I was like, yeah, 9 people showed up. Not so, yeah. And this was before I decided to niche down. But then one of my students signed up, and the first thing she says, she goes, yeah, I chose you because, you know the industry. And I was like, duh, Nick, this is what people want. When they're looking for someone to solve their problems, they want to make sure that you're the absolute best person to do it. Wow. And so if you're like, oh, I help everyone, then they're like, I don't know if you're the best person. But if it's very specific, if it's like I teach video marketing for insurance brokers or, insurance, then someone who's in insurance is going to say, wow, this guy's for me. Right. And that's what we want. Our customers have to say, this is for me. We want a heck yeah,
Exactly.
not a maybe. And that
Nick,
changes everything.
Nick, is there a way you can share with us like some strategies that you will like maybe 1 or 2 strategies that you feel that, you know, a struggling home care agency may need, especially if as they migrate into digital marketing and social media?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one, you know, biggest key is really, and this is kind of twofold. It ties into what we were talking about and then more of the digital element. So the first part is niching down in what we're talking about and really being a specialization, you know, focusing where somebody's like, I need dementia and, you know, I'm a dementia expert, right? That's an important part. And then how do we tie that in? How do we tie into our specialization into our digital marketing strategy?
Right.
And so in this case, one of the biggest missed opportunities when it comes to digital marketing is not having a lead magnet. I remember, I think I talked to you guys about it when we were at the event, because it's just so essential in how are we actually taking people that are online in our space and turning them into a lead? Because at the end of the day, if we're like, hey, call us, that's not a good call to action. Somebody is, when they're ready to call you, they'll call you. They don't need to be told to call you. So we want to get them from where they are to getting them to call you. Wow. And so we want to be the resource. We want to be somebody that provides value, you know, providing things that are going to help them to make the best decisions in whatever they're doing.
Yes.
And so when we create a powerful lead magnet, let's say in an example, right? Like, you know, how to care for your loved one who's struggling with dementia, right? There's a lot to that title, right? It's a hook. It's specific into what someone will search, right? It's very struggles that people are having, right? So that's what they're looking, that's the problem they're looking to solve. And then now you're giving them resources, but guess what one of the solutions is? It's home care.
Exactly.
And so we're selling our services through the content and the value that we're sharing through this lead magnet. And so the lead magnet becomes our process of being able to take them from, again, that person that's just looking around, they're shopping, they're not really sure, they're looking for resources, nurturing the audience, and then getting them to convert, schedule a consultation, call you.
I want to jump in right quick because I don't know if everyone caught what Nick just gave us he dropped so many gems, so many jewels right there. And I want to go through and talk specifically to our home healthcare providers. If you go back and just rewind this just a little bit, just like for the last 30 seconds, Nick just gave the play. He talked about knowing our audience. He talked about the lead magnet. He talked about how the copy, how the written format has to be specific. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, Caleb, we feel that we can wear multiple hats. Right. Well, hold up. I don't need anybody to go through. I know how to throw up a Facebook ad, or I know how to go through and do a Google ad, or I know how to go through and do a lead magnet. And we try to do everything. Right. But when you have someone who specializes in what they do, you can tell Nick specializes because he spit it out. When you spend those 10,000 hours focusing on that one thing, that's when you become an expert. Some of us as entrepreneurs, we are experts in growing our business or experts in building the one-on-one relationship. But when it comes to the digital format, we're in no man's land. We're like, okay, well, I know that they said on YouTube to go through and do this, or I know they said on Facebook to go through and do this. And we spend so much time trying and getting nowhere with it. And then Nick, we quite frankly just throw in the towel to say, you know what, this thing don't work. Right. A hammer does not work in my hand. Like, I can't build a house, but a hammer in a contractor or a construction worker hand, they can do magic. And so what you just said, that's why I'm encouraging the entrepreneurs to go back and just click rewind, because what you just gave, Nick, you dropped the juice, man. You dropped the gems on how to go through and get it done. Now it's what the tools are you're gonna have in your hand and what tools you're gonna go through and bring your team on to go through and help build this.
I just want to piggyback on what you were saying, Faris, about, and then what Nick was saying was just it's about delegation, and it's pretty much about like in order to grow your business, just like Nick, you want experts like Nick. You want experts in those different departments that can carry the weight. Yes. And so right now, like even as Faris as the helm of CEO, you know, if we had an expert like Nick over digital marketing and someone over different departments, we're carrying the weight for you. Correct. And so but Nick, let me ask you a question. I wanted to go back onto this because I know that a lot of home care owners are registered nurses. They're pretty much probably more so middle-aged white women between the ages of 40 to maybe 65 or so. And so, or black women, middle-aged women, black and white nurses between 40 to 65. How has that pretty much kind of how has the learning curve for these healthcare owners, how has the learning curve been different, trying to persuade them to do more digital marketing versus do more traditional marketing that they're accustomed to?
I think they want and know that they need it. It's just a matter of the act of doing it. Right. So specifically, in thinking about that question, is really what comes up for me is the video aspect of it, right? Because it's really hard for people that maybe are non-marketers, are not used to bringing attention to themselves or doing something that's out of their comfort zone. They're behind the scenes. They started the business because they didn't necessarily want to be in front of the camera, in front of the scenes, but we're growing businesses.
Yes.
Right.
Being seen is the most important thing, and getting people to know us. That's what marketing is, right? How many people know who we are and know what we do? And so the biggest curvature is really taking them from being a little bit nervous and being willing to get in front of the camera and take those steps. And, like I have some students that are in my program that sign up, they commit to wanting to do video, but it takes like months for them to even create their first video, but they're committed, right? And that's the thing. A lot of these people, like if you commit to something, you put your money down, you're going to be more likely to follow through and do it. And a lot of times we think of it as, these big, massive actions, but the thing is, it's these really small, intricate steps. And when it comes to video and really everything in life, right? And I love this quote. I share it all the time, is that if you want to be great, you need to first be good. If you want to be good, you need to first be bad. And so many of us are so worried about being seen, being bad. And that's what's holding you back from ever being great.
Wow.
Because you've never done anything ever in your entire life amazing the first time you did it.
Wow.
You didn't hop on your 2-wheel bike and just start pop a wheelie and going off ramps. You had training wheels, and then you took the training wheels off, and you can bet you fell and it probably hurt, right?
Right.
You got some scrapes. That's going to happen, but that's how you learn. That's how you grow. And so it's this idea of, no matter what element, not just video, it's any skill set. And that's what this is. People sometimes look at me and they go, oh, video's easy for you. It wasn't. Exactly. It wasn't easy for me. I had to get started. I had to be bad first. And I put stuff out there. I put my 24-year-old self on camera in front of a bigger audience with, no experience here. I'm like, why should they even listen to me? Right. I'm just a kid, all of these things, all of these fears. But I just said, I'm doing it anyway. I don't care. And that's the thing, is when we just feel the fear and do it anyway. Every single person that has ever done anything great at one point was having the fear and having imposter syndrome. We all have it. It's a rite of passage. Get used to it. Get over it. Time to take action. Take messy action. Get out of your comfort zone. Make it happen.
Wow.
I like it.
Wow.
Let's go.
Man, Nick, this has been an amazing interview, man. And one thing I want to kind of segue, because I know, as you know, we all work in the healthcare and the senior care field. I want to kind of hear which you kind of gave it already. What piece of advice, because there are a lot of healthcare professionals. The reason why we came into the industry is to go through and serve, to make a difference within our communities. But we cannot make a difference just going through and actually being small or thinking of ourselves so small. What is one piece of advice that you would give that struggling healthcare provider to say that desire to have a big dream, but the actions are not there? The big dream, but the fear is there. The big dream, but feel like, oh my gosh, it's just me, my husband, my son, my daughter with this. What advice would you give that person when it comes to conquering this digital age, conquering his or her fear to get out there and put themselves out there in an uncomfortable zone?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll kind of bring it into two parts. The first part is one, like you said, service. So you're in this business because you want to help people. And what I love about when you think about from a digital marketing aspect, it's not a extra thing that you have to do. It's a way for you to serve on a greater level. Because the content that I teach my clients and that I always recommend is content that helps people, just like what you guys are doing with this show, right? Is creating valuable content that helps. And in the senior care industry, when it comes to expertise, your customers know absolutely nothing.
Wow.
They know zero. And you know a lot more than you give yourself credit. And there are people that need that information that you can help. And my favorite topic that I always bring up in examples is when it comes to fall prevention, right? We know it. We're in the industry. We see fall risks, things in the home that are like, this is not good, because we live it every day. We're used to it. But the individual doesn't know that. And so simply by putting yourself out there and creating content around fall prevention and letting people know, hey, this is a tripping hazard. Somebody could fall. We need to make sure that we remove these carpets. And now that content has the potential to not only reduce hospitalization, but literally save lives.
Wow.
Because falls is one of the top 10 leading causes of death. And
Wow.
so when we think about coming from this place of service, is that this is the value that we're sharing. We're trying to impact people on a greater level. When it comes to digital marketing, we have the potential to impact so many more people, because it's not just one-on-one conversation. We have the opportunity to get in front of hundreds, thousands of people from one short video.
Right.
And so when we're thinking and we're nervous about getting out of our comfort zone, just think about the people that you could help. Think about the service that you're providing that's really going to make a difference for their life, regardless of whether or not they decide to go with you, regardless of whether or not they choose to contact you. It's about being a resource, because at the end of the day, you want to help people and you don't care where they go. You just want to make sure that they get the care and the support and the knowledge that they need to make the best possible decision.
Wow. And one thing I'm going to kind of even piggyback on this as well. Make it fun. That's one thing that Caleb and I, we do as well. We go through and actually make it fun when it comes to recording, because this is not my natural conversation. I love having, this is the natural part of having conversations with individuals, but stepping out and kind of acting and just getting out the comfort zone. That's something I had to go through and do. And I remember back in the day, Caleb, I don't remember, what was those little cameras that we had?
GoPros?
Not the GoPros, before the GoPros. They had something. Oh my gosh.
You talking about with cameras on the stick?
Yeah. It was some little
Selfie
camera
stick?
device. Say again?
Selfie stick? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was like almost looked like a phone, but it wasn't a phone. It just had a camera or something small.
I know what you're talking about, like those gimbals. Some kind of
It was something else. But anyhow, so I remember us doing skits back in the day in our 2-bedroom house. Like, it was my brothers and I. We were just doing skits back in the day, but we made it fun. Even though it looked ridiculous, but we made it fun. I remember y'all dressed up as like grandpa and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember.
But what it did is it allowed us to stand out in this normal zone where everyone was going through and focusing on the pamphlet and the brochure. We stood out as, those home care guys that they're willing to go out there and do something different.
Right.
That actually sparked our growth back then, because it was just something different. And just like Nick, just like you were saying, being able to do something different. We're experts in the field. Why not create a little skit?
Exactly.
Why not go through and actually use some comic relief? Why not go? Because now we're getting our individuals captured into what we can go through and provide for them and service them as well.
I want to ask you a question. How big is like TikTok on your platform? Like, do you tell the providers that they need to do more like TikTok, or just more so social media with Facebook and Instagram?
So we have been spending a little bit of time on just like understanding TikTok a little bit more, but I think it's important to understand like the demographics and who you're trying to target with it. It is a very young demographic majority. Obviously there's more that are pulling over. So I still generally recommend like Facebook and Instagram, but we're starting to dabble a little bit into TikTok. It's one of those things that I think when we understand these tools, so video is the tool in the sense and the skill. And so it doesn't matter what platform. You guys remember Vine, like what happened to Vine, right?
Exactly.
So, but video is still the same thing. Like video still remains to be the key. And, I love that you were talking about being different. And the thing is, there are so many people out there. If you're listening to this and you're going, Nick, this is great, but I'm never going to do video, then it's the exact reason why you should, because other people are thinking the exact same thing. Like being different can be as simple as making a video. Yeah. I love the idea of creating skits and being more creative. And that's like next level stuff. But even just creating a simple video and going live for 1 minute and 30 seconds is going to be different, because there's so many people that aren't willing to do that. And so being willing to just like take these steps in like, how can we make it happen, is my recommendation is make it easy, make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it and focus on taking one step at a time. Right. If I said to you, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make 12 videos. You need a lead magnet, you need landing pages, you need to do all this. You got to have an email funnel. You got to have all this stuff, blah, blah, blah,
get this big.
And now you're like, like take a breath and just take a moment and share a video with your story. Tell people your why and why you got into business. Start there, and that's it. And we'll go from there. And that's what I kind of help my clients do, is like zone in on the focal point. All right, what do they need to do? This is this one small action step. Start there, and we'll just take it one step at a time. You know, things become really overwhelming when we think about all of these things that are going on. Oh, these big activity. Oh, I want to grow my business to these massive numbers. Well, what's going to do it? We got to shrink that down into small, daily, actionable items that are going to get the results that we want.
Be laser focused. Nick, if you can go over maybe, I know we're going to wrap it up. Faris probably going to ask you to give a moment or a thought, but let's talk about some of your services. Like, you know, can you go over and discuss maybe, you know, your prices, or what do you charge? Like what is like some of the services that you provide for home care providers?
Yeah, I keep it real simple. Okay. I got one package. I coach people, and you get access to all my courses. And I got a video course, a social media course, I got a recruitment course, and I got like 3 more courses on the pipeline. So basically you get access to all my courses, and you get to coach with me every single week.
Wow.
That's what I offer. That's it. That's my program. And
Nick, I like how laser focused, because sometimes sometimes we get convoluted on things that we may or may not need. And I like that you're focused on this healthcare field. And we have so many listeners that are healthcare providers that are single persons, or they may have three or four team members, and they really need this in their ear. They need to have someone like a Nick in their corner to go through and guide them through the process, to go through and encourage them, to have some accountability, to go through and move forward. And I think this right here is something awesome. And as we close, like, I want to go through, definitely at the end, I want you to definitely be able to kind of give out some information on how people can follow you on your social media platforms, but also if this offer is something good for them as well, how they can go through and connect with you, or if you have any freebies that individuals can have as well. So I want to kind of get to that. But before we get to that point, I want to go through and see what is one parting piece, and you can segue into giving your social media, but what is one parting piece of advice that you would give specifically for the new home healthcare provider who's just getting started, who may be a nurse or may not be a nurse, but who's just getting started, who understands, who got their provider number, got their license to go through and serve. They're excited, but the excitement is wearing off. So now they want to go through and actually do something to go through and start growing their company. What's one piece of advice that you would give to them? And then how could they connect with you? Any offers you may have?
Absolutely. I'm going to do a non-digital marketing tip, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Because I think this is something that I live every single day. And if I'm, you know, if someone asked me to give a TED talk, this is what it would be about. In that every day that we wake up is a gift, a privilege, an honor to be here today, to be breathing out in the world. And so my number one recommendation in everything that you do is that you practice gratitude on a daily basis. And there are so many aspects in how this evolves into reprogramming our brain to see things more positive. Because if you're getting into this industry, it's not going to be easy. Business in general is not going to be easy. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. And so if we take that time every single day and think about the things that we are grateful for, we're going to show up better for all the people that we connect with. We're going to show up better online. We're going to better show up with our staff. We're going to show up better to our referral. Every single thing that you do, if you can lead with gratitude and bringing that positive attitude into everything that you do, it will change how you show up, how you feel every day, and also produce results in everything that you do.
Man, that's amazing. Gratitude.
Like
it's amazing, the simplicity of gratitude that can be the paradigm shift to go through and lead to doing something great. That's exactly what we needed to hear, man. And so also let our audience know how can they connect with you on social media or on your website, and also give them a link towards that your coaching programs, because I think that's important, and we're going to also include in our show notes as well.
Excellent, absolutely. You know, I got freebies, right? So what do we talk about?
The freebies.
What do we talk about? Lead magnets, right? So I have a free training called Social Media Success: How to Attract More Clients and Caregivers Online. And it's totally free. All you got to do is go to thedigitalchamps.com/social. And basically through the whole training, you're going to be able to take lots of notes. It's roughly like an hour long. And then at the end, I go through everything that's included in my program as well at the end. And so everything is there. And I promise you'll walk away with nuggets and things you can start taking action on, so you can start getting immediate results.
Oh, man. So guys, hey, make sure you check out and it's going to be in the show notes below. And also, do you have any social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything, YouTube they can follow you on?
Yeah, I'm Nick J and then Bonnie Boni on all platforms. So keeping it simple.
Very simple. Keep it super simple. Nick, we want to say thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for sharing a wealth of knowledge with our community, because man, we need this. We need to service more people. More people are depending on healthcare providers nowadays, and especially as baby boomers get older, they're going to be an even greater need, and we have to go through and meet it with excellence. And we have to meet the baby boomers where they are, because the baby boomers, they're right here on social media. They're right here on their phones as well. So Nick, with you at the helm of the ship, I know we're going to get there really, really soon and really quick as well. Nick, I want to say thank you so much for joining us.
Man, enjoy that San Diego weather, brother.
Exactly,
hey,
man.
Thank you so much for having me, and you know I will.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.